It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, IA, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. That might be afternoon where you're at. Well, it just started out as noon here, Pacific time. Here in Arizona, we always stay the same time. We don't change. The rest of the country, y'all change. We don't, cause, and then it messes up our time. Sometimes we're Mountain, sometimes we're Pacific. That's a real pain in the butt with radio. But what we do is we're Greenwich Mean Time minus 7 hours all the time. That's what we are. That is the way it is. Now, what we're going to do today is kind of go over what's going on with the United States versus China. There are meetings in Washington now, and they're going, ouch, quit it, ouch, quit it, ouch, quit it. And it's really, as important as the issues are, what they're doing in Washington is just, it's inconsequential. You know, it's already, what's happened has already happened. It's how they're going to, spin it. You know, we're all talking about spin and negotiation right now. That's all we're doing is who's going to get blamed for what. Well, it's like the PR world media war kind of crap. Now, the only people that I've seen, as you go through this, you know, there's a lot being written about it and so on, but the only people that are really doing any kind of TV coverage of it is Russia Today, RT. And you know that, you know, the Russians are sitting back going, yeah, you guys just keep ouch, quit it, ouch, quit it. It's like an episode of The Simpsons. And there's some dire consequences going on. We'll talk about it. I'm going to play you a couple of clips from RT. Now, one of them is really short. And it kind of just sums it up what's going on. Then there's a Jim Rogers, the billionaire biker. You know, he and Soros started a fund back in the day, and they split off. And I remember when I was producing for years for Charles Goyette, every week we'd have him on as Wednesdays or Fridays, depending. But every week we'd have Jim Rogers on. I was calling him in Shanghai and Singapore and New York and wherever. You give him a call. Yep, there he is, ready to go do the half hour, sometimes even an hour with Charles on what was coming. And he nailed it. And I'll tell you, it was 2004 or 2005. 2005, we were at the Air America affiliate. They just started here, and here we come. We're the morning show, 3 hours. And Charles is doing a great job there before he started, you know, being a big giant, you know, writer. You know, this New York Times best-selling. He's got a new book coming out. You know, it's on freedom, the Prosperity America Prosperity. Something I don't think they finalized the title, but he just is in the end game of that, and that'll be out hopefully by the end of the year. Now, the thing is that, you know, we were worried the dollar meltdown, we're going to make it in time. But he got that in, and now it's printed in Chinese and Korean. You think they're not reading that book? Heck yeah. Why do you think it got printed? You know, Penguin Publishing, their portfolio, their business section, Chinese. There it is. And they're reading it, and they know exactly what's going on if they read that book. Do they need to read that book? I mean, it's a shortcut. You know, they can go through all kinds of economics and Austrian economics and go to the Mises Institute and this, that, and just pay attention, you know, but they go, you know, we read Charles's book. We're all good. Oh, you guys be bad. We're going to. So the U.S. is trying to do some kind of. Schumer is coming out. Sarah, look for that. Schumer legislation China. Just do a Schumer China news thing, Google today. And I'll bet you it comes up. Give me the title of what the article is. He is doing legislation, wants to make it illegal illegal somehow trade sanctions something against China if they change the valuation of their yuan against the dollar, like they're not allowed. I'm going, what are they thinking? The Chinese got to be going, you guys, we're the creditor. We're the ones that you're the debtor. We just start liquidating even more. And this has been going on behind the scenes and nobody's talking about it. Well, RT did. I think we got enough time in this segment. How long is this? Yeah, let's do this. I want you guys to listen to this and we'll talk about some of the other things. This is good. Here we go.
Get straight to our top stories. The U.S. Senate wants to level the playing field with China as they introduce a new bill aimed at controlling foreign currencies. Senator Chuck Schumer introduced legislation that condemns currency manipulation by foreign governments as an unfair subsidy and would slap those governments with U.S. trade restrictions. RT's Lauren Lister has more.
When Barack Obama became U.S. president, the conventional wisdom was U.S. and China relations would improve. In February of 2009, Hillary Clinton made her first visit to Beijing as Secretary of State. Surprising some, she backed off on criticism of Tibet and Falun Gong. China, in turn, muted their criticism of U.S. risky financial policies. They instead focused on issues that both countries were concerned about, such as the global financial crisis. The high point came when Obama made his first visit to China in November of 2009. Both sides were hoping Obama's visit would lift U.S.-China relations to a new level. But what's happened since has been anything but, leaving people wondering what's really behind the souring of U.S.-China relations. Here's the rundown of what we know. In December, Google alleges a cyber attack from China, and after years of doing business in the country, following censorship laws, in January threatens to pull out altogether. China appears unmoved for its part. Later that month, Hillary Clinton gives an internet freedom speech and decides to point the finger at China over internet freedom, and she brings up the Google situation, asking for an investigation. China fires back, calling it an unjustified attack. At the end of January, the U.S. announces a $6 billion arms sale to Taiwan, a move sure to upset China. China is, of course, upset and retaliates. In February, senior military officers proposed to sell U.S. bonds to punish Washington over the sale. Meanwhile, Obama signs into law a $1.9 trillion increase in U.S. borrowing. China is, of course, the largest lender to the U.S. Then, a report shows China had been selling bonds, $45 billion in U.S. treasuries over the prior 5 months, which analysts called a trend. President Obama in February then meets with the Dalai Lama, the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader, at the White House. This despite strong objections from Chinese officials, further adding to tensions. And now in March, U.S. lawmakers get involved with the Google situation. Now they're criticizing China over cybersecurity and internet freedom. And U.S. senators unveil legislation to punish China if it doesn't revalue its currency, saying Beijing keeps the yuan low to bolster exports. And the United States State Department publishes its annual report on human rights, being tougher on China than in past years. In response, China publishes its own report on the U.S. human rights record, accusing the U.S. of turning a blind eye and covering up rampant human rights abuses happening right at home. Lauren Lister, RT, Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you get the idea. This is something that, of course, this has been going on for over a year or more. They're saying, not only that China, they want them to revalue it to what the U.S. wants. We want you to fund our debt, give you treasuries, and then revalue your yuan to the U.S. dollar to the number that we say. Wow. When we come back, we'll have what Jim Rogers has to say about that. That was today or yesterday. Going, how this is going to play out. The U.S. is done, man. Done. We had on the front page of Freedom's Phoenix, a guy wrote a letter to the editor asking if we could help him find where he could find a copy of the loan documents between the USA and China. That'd be something to find. Maybe we should start looking for it. Oh, we'll talk about it when we come back here on Declare Your Independence.